Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Figma EX-042 Deluxe Deadpool figure from Max Factory and Good Smile Company. Now this figure comes packaged in a window box. You've got the figure clearly displayed. Up at the very top, you've got the Max Factory and Good Smile Company logo. And then down below, you've got the designation, the EX-042. This is the deluxe version with the extra accessories and everything. You also have Deadpool's name. On the sides of the packaging, you just have images of the figure showing off some of the accessories. And then on the back of the packaging, we have even more images of the figure showing off additional accessories for this. All right, let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging along with the other contents. And this figure, being the deluxe figure, is chocked with quite a few accessories. Now first of all, you do get a little instruction sheet that shows you how all the accessories and everything work. Also, like we see with all the Figma figures, you get this little Ziploc bag so that you can store all the accessories and not lose them, which is nice. This figure also comes with a basic Figma flight stand, and this is done with a clear plastic, and you've got Figma on the base here. And then you've got the arm, you can rotate here down at the bottom, and then you've got articulation down here at the bottom, so you got the back and forth movement. Then you have articulation here midway, so again you've got back and forth movement. And then up top here you've got back and forth movement. They give you this extra little piece that you can use to plug into the figure's back, and you can turn that, and then that's basically it. You don't get a clamp or anything with this one. Now the way the figure stand works is you just plug it into the back of the figure. He's got a hole down here towards the bottom of his back. Now this hole up here is for his sword, so you can't use that with the stand. But basically either you can plug the stand straight in, or you can add that extra piece that has the curved peg, and then you just kind of plug it into that back, and then you can use it to put him in flight poses or jumping poses, and then also you can just have him stand normally if you wanted to. Next, let's take a look at all the different pairs of hands this figure comes with, and he does have a lot. So first of all, you get a pair of closed-fisted hands, and these are the ones that are attached to the figure when you first take it out of the packaging. And then I like how they've included with a lot of these hands this little holder for them, so you can hold 4 different pairs of hands with this, and you just plug the hands in. So I like that feature that they've included. You don't often see that. And with this you get the open pair of hands, and then you get a pair of grip hands that are pretty tight grip, and then you get a pair of more looser grip hands, and you've got the trigger fingers, so these are for like weapons and such. And then you get a pair of wider grip hands, and these look like for like the chimichanga that he comes with, so that you can replicate him eating it. And then you also get 2 additional sets of hands with the EX version. So you get a pair that's got a thumbs up and a pointing finger, and then another pair that's got that kind of thumb and pinky finger out, and then just another grip type hand. And these extra hands also come with these little things. I guess these are just so you don't lose them as easily. It makes them a little bit bigger. They're just little pegs basically, and you can pull out. So again, just a way so that make it easier so you don't lose all these different hands that they've provided. And switching out the hands is easy. You just pull off the hand you want to replace, and you've got that little ball peg, and you've got a piece here that is loose, but it's not going to actually come off on the figure, so just be wary of that. But then to switch out the hands, you just plug in the hand that you want to replace it with. You just plug it in, and it should fit nice and tight. They've also included a little extra peg piece. This is for the hands in case you lose it or break it. Next, this figure comes with 3 different face expressions and then 1 extra head. The extra head is part of the EX version, but with the face expressions, basically you just pull off half the face, the front part of the face. It's not the entire head sculpt, and you just can pry it loose with your fingernails and pull it off. And so you get this one that has basically the eyes are kind of normal. It's really the eyes that change with these different facial expressions, because obviously the mask covers the rest of his face. But the eyes are pretty normal with this one. And then you get this one where the eyes are more of like a half moon type design. And then this third one where you've got one eye open wider than the other eye. And then you just plug these in however you want. You know, they just have the little peg and you just plug them in. So pretty easy to switch those out. And then, as I said, this figure also comes with an extra head sculpt. So with this, you just pull it off and you've got the little ball peg here. And then you get the second one with the mask that's kind of pulled up, and you can just plug that one in. and it should fit nice and tight. And this one goes along with the extra pair of legs that he comes with, which I'll show you in just a minute. But this one, again, he's got the mask pulled up and it looks like his mouth is full of food because I guess he's eating the chimichanga. And while his face that you can see here, it doesn't look super deformed, you do see he's got some pock marks and scars here on his face, here on the side and up here above his lips and stuff, and even over here on this side you can see some disfiguration, so I do like that added detail. Now while we've got the alternate head on, I'll go on and show you the alternate legs that he comes with. So basically, if you want to have Deadpool just wearing his heart-shaped boxers, they've included that, and this is included with the EX version. So again, on the legs you can see there's scarring throughout his legs, so you have some deformity there, and on the back as well. Now the back here, the joint is a little bit different color, so that does stick out. That's one of my things I don't like about Figma figures, is how the knee and elbow joints tend to look on them. But as it is, you know, it only looks kind of bad from behind. And then again, you've got the heart-shaped boxer shorts, and so you got the two legs, and both legs have some scarring on it and everything, and then you get the crotch piece with the rest of the boxers. And so how this works is you want to remove his feet. So basically the bottom of his feet you just pull out, and then you can just pop off the legs. Now when you're trying to pop these legs off, and again these just attach with ball joints, it might be easier just to go on and pull the entire lower body out. So you can just pop it off here. It attaches with a peg, and so that makes it easier. But once you get the legs off, then you just can remove the crotch piece. Also to note, this holster piece is actually removable. It's supposed to be left on there for the, you know, even with the boxer shorts, but if you wanted to, you can remove them. But I just want to note that, you know, basically you can take these off if you want to, this holster off if you want to. Also note that this piece here is actually a pretty thin piece of plastic, so you don't want to pull on this piece too much. It is in there, it's attached, it's a ball joint that's stuck in there, but you know, it's not going to come out easily. So you definitely may want to do something like take a hairdryer to this and loosen up the plastic a bit before you try and take this apart to put the boxer shorts on, just to, you know, be wary, because again, this is a pretty thin plastic and I could see you snapping this off if you're not careful. And then what you want to do is just add this new crotch piece with the hearts, and then plug in the new legs. Make sure you've got the left leg on the left side and the right leg on the right side. And it can be kind of difficult getting these joints to pop out, at least initially. A lot of times it's usually pretty easy to get these kinds of figures to get, you know, to get the joints out, but of course, because you actually want to take them out on this one, it's kind of difficult. But then once you get it, then you're just going to plug these in, and then once you have the legs plugged into the ball joints, then you can attach the lower legs. So again, you want to make sure you have the left leg on the left side and the right leg on the right side, and the pegs are matched up with the holes on the feet, so you can't actually mix up the two, and you just want to push them in. And you might have to push a little hard initially, but they should fit on there pretty good. And then you just reattach the upper body. So you've got this piece, which is a separate piece, which you just kind of slide over this peg, and then you've got the upper body that you just plug in, and it should slide in there. And that's basically all you have to do. So again, best thing here I can recommend is to probably want to loosen this plastic up a little bit when you try and remove these legs from the ball joints, just so you don't snap that joint and break it. And you'll notice here that I've removed the gun from the holster. Now the entire gun is actually not meant to be removed. They've done it so you get just take off the top portion of the gun. So if you want it to look like the gun is in the holster, you got to plug that back in. And the holster that's on the regular pair of legs is the same way. Now they've given you an additional gun so that you can have the gun out loose, but again, this one you see in the holster, it's only the top that you can remove, and it removes with that strap. And again, the holster that's attached to the leg, the regular leg, is the same way, where you can remove the top portion of the gun if you want to look like the gun has been removed from the holster, but it's not the actual entire gun. And again, they've given you an alternate gun, so if you want to have it out, you can. And this is done, it's a revolver, and it's done with just a gray plastic. Now the sheath on his leg here, on his left leg, is actually a working sheath. You get the knife, and the knife has got the red and the black on the handle, and then the metallic silver on the blade. And with that one, you can slide the knife in or out if you want to. The knife sheath is also removable, attaches with a little peg, so you can remove it or plug it in, and you can also move it back and forth. And then the last accessory that kind of goes along with this entire look is the chimichanga itself, and this is done with just a yellow plastic, and it's completely, the changa is completely wrapped, there's no bites out of it yet. And then you want to just make sure you have one of those wider grip hands in, and it'll hold it, so you just stick it in his hand, and then you can have it hold it up to his mouth so it looks like he's about to eat it, even though he's already got food in his mouth because his cheeks are full like a chipmunk. Okay, now I've gone on and put back the regular legs on the figure, and one thing I want to touch upon real quick with these guns here is that you can't switch out these weapons. As I mentioned before, the guns don't just completely come out, you just pull off the top, but the silver gun has got 2 pegs, and then this one, this revolver, has only got a single peg, so this revolver really doesn't fit in this holster at all. You can actually put this one in, you can kind of just sit it in there if you wanted to, but it's not really meant to go in there. And then the other thing to note about this holster with the pouches and stuff, this actually attaches to the figure with a ball joint, so if you wanted to, you could actually remove this holster from the figure. Okay, so other accessories included with this version, you get these 2 rifles, and these look exactly the same. They're done with a metallic silver. You've got the large magazines, and the sculpting detail is pretty good on them, and again, they are exactly the same. And then you want to use the grip hands that have the trigger fingers that are kind of sticking out. That's probably the best hands to use with these, and he'll hold these weapons nice and tight. When it comes to holding the pistols, the best hands to use are those ones with the trigger fingers, and again, he does hold the pistols nice and tight with those hands. The figure also comes with a pair of side weapons, and these are done with a metallic silver, and you've got the black wrappings on the handle. And with these, you want to make sure you have the grip hands that are a little bit tighter, and you can just slide those in his hand, and he will hold it nice and tight. And then you can also, even though they technically really didn't give you a place to store the size, you can, because this belt is a separate piece, you can just kind of slide it in there, and he will hold the size in his belt like that. And then finally, he comes with his katana swords. So you get the swords loose, and these are done with a metallic silver on the blades, and then you've got the black and red on the handle. And I like the metallic silver on the blades for these. You've got almost a reflective type silver, the way, I don't know, the way they've done it. So I like how it picks up the light. It looks like it's a really sharp blade, so I like that. The figure also comes with a sheath for the swords. Now you'll notice here, and we've seen this with other import Deadpool figures, the swords themselves, you get the swords, and then you get the sheath with the 2 handles. And you can remove these handles, but it's not attached to any blade. So basically they give you the handles, and then they give you the swords separately, but you can't put the actual swords in the sheath with this figure. But if you want it to look like he's got the swords removed from the sheath, then you just take the handles off. And these move, they're attached with a little peg, so you can kind of pose them how you want. And then he's got the hole here on the upper back, and you just plug these in and they fit. So again, you can kind of pose these however you want. You can have them more spread apart like this, or you can have them closer together. And when it comes to holding the swords, it's better to use those taper grip hands like with the size, and then you can just slide the swords in there and he will hold them nice and tight. Okay, so for the figure itself, I think this looks pretty good for the most part. My only minor complaint with this figure is, I mentioned before, I don't really like how the elbow joints and the knee joints from behind look on these figures. Now with the regular legs on this one, they don't look bad because they're black. But like here on the arms here, the joints, it wouldn't look that bad, but the joint colors are a little bit lighter red than the rest of the figure, so it definitely makes them stand out. You know, they look a little different because they're more round than the rest of the arm, but then they stand out because the pink or the red color is a little bit lighter color. So that's my only real complaint with the overall look of the figure. Otherwise, I think they've done a pretty good job. You've got a wash effect throughout the red colors with some black wash, so I like that. And I like the way the mask is sculpted. You got the little tip on the end there, and then he's got the holsters for the sheath, and those are actually separate pieces that you could take off if you wanted to, you know, remove the arms and everything. You could actually take those off. And he's got the metallic silver here on the chest, and the black down the gloves, so I like that detailing. And these little belt pieces are separate pieces. They're attached to the hand so they don't come off, but they are actually separate pieces. And then you've got the holster with the Deadpool symbol on the holster, and you've got the pouches. Now the holster, the leather pieces for the holsters and stuff, they're very clean. They're, you know, there's no wash effect or anything on the holsters, so I like the sculpting detail, but I think they could have maybe made them look a little dirty, give them a little wash effect, give them that better, more of a leather look to them. But otherwise, I think they've done a good job with these. And you've got the pouches here, a little pocket on the holster, and then just black and red on the legs. And I like the sculpting detail with the line work with the red portions where the red meets the black. So it gives you that kind of leather look. And then down here with his feet, he's got the plating over his lower legs, and then he's got these little pieces that come up, and these pieces on the front of his shoes are actually separate pieces, and they're done with a rubber type material so that they don't limit the articulation of the foot, but they do kind of cover up the ball joint there. So I do like that. And then he's got the treads on the bottom of the feet. So this figure stands almost 6 inches exactly. Now here's a comparison with the most recent Hasbro Marvel Legend version of Deadpool, and you can see the Marvel Legend figure is much taller than the Figma figure. Here's a comparison with the Revoltech Deadpool figure, and even with the knees bent a little bit on this one, you can see it's still taller than the Figma one. Now I don't have a Mafex Deadpool figure to give you a comparison since they haven't made one, but here is the more recent Homecoming Spider-Man figure with the Figma Deadpool, and Deadpool is taller. And then finally, again, I don't have an SH Figure Arts Deadpool to give you a comparison, but here is the Captain America movie figure, and you can see these two are about the same height. Okay, so for articulation, you can turn the head to the left and to the right. The entire neck moves, so he can look all the way down with his neck, and then you get some additional up and down movement with the head itself. So good head movement there, and you can also pivot to the left and to the right. And you can see you can almost kind of turn his head to the side there. So again, good movement. Now you do notice you get some kind of, you can see like a ball joint here when you move the neck back too much. So that's one of the things about these figures. When you start moving them around, a lot of these joints become exposed. But you still get good movement. Same with the arm here. You've got that double ball type system. So you've got back and forth movement. You've got up and down movement with the shoulder. You've got pretty good rotation there with the shoulder. He can get his arm out good. You've got rotation, you can rotate the shoulder there with the arm. So again, a good range of movement with these. The biggest thing is that just, you know, the joints you do see exposed pretty much when you start posing these things around. Now notice you've got these little pieces that kind of stick out, and again, when you start moving the arm here on the back, those pieces kind of stick out a little bit, but not too big of a deal. And then you've got that ball joint, that double peg ball joint with the elbow, and so you've got good bending there at the elbow. You can see you can bend really good. And you've got rotation. You basically get rotation on the bottom and the upper portion of the arm. And then you've got rotation with the hand, and you've got up and down movement because you've got that double peg system. And then you've got the midsection, so you've got rotation. You can pivot to the left and the right. He can crunch down pretty good there, and he can look back pretty good. And I like with these, you don't get the exposed hole like you often see with a lot of these figures. When you start having him kind of look back or crunch forward, you don't get that breakage there. So I do like that. And then you've got rotation at the waist, and then the legs are attached with those ball joints, so he can do the splits good. You can get the leg forward good. You can do the leg back pretty good. And then you get rotation up high around that ball joint. And then with the knee, he's got really good bending at the knee. He can bend his knee really good. You also get rotation there at the knee. Now, not as much as you do with like the elbow, but you do get some rotation, mainly because the knee, that joint there at the knee kind of sticks out, so it limits some of the rotation there. But you do get some. And then with the legs, you just get up and down movement. You got good up and down movement with this, and then you do have good ankle pivot, and you also have rotation, and then he does have toe articulation with this one as well, and no peg holes on the bottom of the figure. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I think this is a pretty solid figure. Now, I don't like the elbow joints and the way they look on the figure. I don't really like the elbow joints on any Figma figure, but they stand out a little bit worse on this one to me because the paint is a little bit lighter color. But otherwise, I think the paint applications on the figure are pretty solid. And while in some poses those joints will stick out worse than on others, I think it is like a much better looking figure in general than say like the Revoltech figure. And I do like the posability with this figure. You can get it in some pretty decent poses. You also get a lot of accessories with this one. Now, it can be a little bit of a pain sometimes trying to pose the figure because a lot of those accessories will fall off easily. The guns will pop out of the holster. But again, that's kind of par for the course with these types of figures. You just kind of have to be patient with them. So overall, I think this is a pretty solid figure. It's maybe not, you know, scale-wise, it's not going to fit in with your Marvel Legends. So if you're looking for something to go with your Marvel Marvel Legends, I would say stick with Marvel Legends, but compared to like the Reveltech figure, I do like this one better. Now this figure is available now. We'll have a full image gallery up at marvelousnews.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment, let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. Also, please hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.